The next match is Big Bubba Rogers versus Hugh Morris with Jimmy Hart. Hugh is oddly wearing jeans and a tie-dye, and I'm sure everyone will deny this being a Dudley-inspired outfit, but he's actually filling in for Conan because this is a Mexican death match. And the voiceover guy is even referencing Conan here, but Conan was given the night off to do a show in Mexico. Tony, how in the world does Conan dodge this bullet? But more importantly, how is he allowed to be booked and promoted for a pay-per-view, but then given the night off to work for a competitor in Mexico? This seems weird.
Yeah, it's weird, but Conan did his own deals. And I think that was part of the deal that he had worked out with Eric. So, yeah. That was just the iceberg of some of the silly shit that went on behind the scenes, you know?
It just seems like, if you don't think the guy's going to make it, here's an idea. Use somebody else, just crazy shit like that.
Right. And don't call it, again, when you advertise it, a Mexican death match, and you don't have a Mexican in it, and you still come up with a Mexican death match, something's fucked up there, buddy.
Yeah, it's worth reminding you, this Mexican death match is held in Iowa with no Mexicans in the ring. Yeah. Just outstanding.
I'm sure there are a lot of great Mexicans in Iowa.
Maybe.
I'd like to say that being very politically correct.
Well, there's no wall around Iowa, so we got that going
Not
for
yet,
us.
buddy.
Anyway, Bubba wins the match, and it's a match that Dave gives a 1.5, and he wins it by countout after 9 minutes, where Hugh misses what might be the worst moonsault in history, but in fairness, it is off the entrance steps. So naturally, Bubba does what everyone would do and run him over with a motorcycle. So to recap, the first match had a table spot. The second match, we're running over people with a fucking motorcycle. And as a reminder, this is a Mexican death match held in Iowa with no Mexicans. Who's in charge of creative at this point? This is fucking ridiculous.
Okay. Well, obviously it's who's in charge of creative is Eric and the booking committee at this time. Now, you may ask who's in the booking committee. It changed so many times. Conrad, I'm not so sure. I know that Kevin Sullivan was always a big part of it. Terry Taylor was, and this was obviously before Vince Russo came in and all that. And Eric was a part of it. I'm not so sure Jody would have been sitting in on those booking committee meetings. But again, it goes back to Eric and the booking committee to come across on that. I remember thinking when he jumped on that motorcycle, I remember thinking, watch that motherfucker not start. Watch it not. Well, it started. And as a result, I thought, and I went back and looked at it again. I remember thinking at that time, and now thinking again, that Hugh Morris took probably as good a bump as you could take.
Yes.
Without being hit by a motorcycle and trying to make it look good.
Yes.
Don't you think so? He did a great job on that. Yeah. And Bill's a good worker, man.
It's worth mentioning that Hugh is devastated here, of course, because he's counted out. I mean, he just got ran over by a fucking motorcycle. But he's on Nitro the next night, and this time he's not wearing his Dudley gear, but he's also not wearing any neck braces, casts, or any other semblance of anything that would remind you that he was ran over by a fucking motorcycle 2 days prior.
Right.
Why wouldn't you even mention this on Nitro? You're the commentator here. Come on, Mr. Commentator. Defend this shit.
Yeah, I'll defend it. Fuck it. Okay? That's how I can defend it. Because if they're not going to guide me and tell me what to say, then okay. If we can throw a giant off the building and he lives, okay?
Not just lives, wins the belt. Later the night.
Wins the belt. Okay. If we can wrap up a guy who can't work worth a shit in a Yeti and call him the Yeti, hell, we can do anything, Conrad.
Yeah, you can.
You can just gotta. It's all fantasy. It's all in your mind. Don't.
God, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I can. Let me tell you this too. It brings up a story. We were meeting. We had a meeting at Hulk Hogan's house, one of his houses, and this came right out of. Do you remember the dungeon? Was it the Dungeon of Doom?
Yeah.
Who was it? Was it? We had King Curtis setting the throne and everything.
That's right.
Okay, and this is when I don't know. They did something really bad to Hogan, and my reaction on TV was terrible, according to Eric. And Eric told me that day at Hogan's house, he said, that reaction was so shitty, I wanted to reach through the TV and grab you by the neck. And I said, well, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm sorry, but I had no guidance here. And I remember thinking, maybe they want me to take the ball here and be part of creative and have my own spin on it. But here I am waiting for guidance on what to say and shit like this, be it Bill DeMott with no brace or the giant falling off or the fucking Yeti coming, which is, by the way, I'm sure we're going to talk about in other episodes. I can't wait to talk about that motherfucking angle. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Let's talk about the next match on the card. Let's get this shit over with.
Anyway, I understand. But for you, a fan, to sit out there and say, who booked this shit? Well, damn it, Conrad, you know who booked this shit? The booking committee did.
Eric Bischoff is the head of the booking committee, but underneath him is Kevin Sullivan and Terry Taylor. Those are the names I was looking for.
And I'm also going to miss some guys here, and I'm sorry. I really am. There were some other guys involved in that at that time.